I'm legally insane. And when I'm not purchasing adult sized diapers for men, extra large, extra absorbent, premium brands only. When I'm not doing that, I've been purchasing retro video games and Nintendo Switch games. And today, I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons why the Nintendo Switch is the greatest console ever made. And I'm going to be doing this with every console. This is a brand new series. Let's get started. PowerPoint presentation, top 10 in no particular order except for number 1. Number 1 is, you already know what number 1 is. You already know. Your mom sells them for cheap. The whole town knows. I go there every Friday night. I know where to find her. The whole freaking country knows where to find her, buddy. And she's got all the best deals. Downtown, 7-Eleven, right behind the dumpster. Everybody knows. 69th Ave, Bangerville Street. You can't miss it. It's marked in every GPS. I've been getting rare games and cheap games from your mother for years. Now, they come with the caveat that your mother expects a couple of favors in return. And to be honest with you, I don't mind the favors. Whole town don't mind the favors. Number 2, case/shelf space. Okay, this is for the collectors out there. You'll know what I'm talking about. You ever thought to yourself, hey, I wish I had more shelf space. I got too many games. I can't fit them all on the shelf. If only I had another shelf. But wait a minute. I don't have space for another shelf. I got thousands of games here. I'm trying to collect over 9,000 games. They keep coming out with new Switch games. Where am I going to put them all? Or how about if you had a PS4? This is for the PS5, PS4 collectors out there. You're probably sitting there going, oh man, I can't fit all my games on a shelf. Well, guess what? Had you collected for the Nintendo Switch instead of your PS4, instead of your PS5, you would have got a 30% higher case to shelf ratio because the Nintendo Switch games are smaller than the PS4 and the PS5 cases. The games are smaller, they're thinner cases. That means if you could fit 20 games on your shelf, 20 PS4 games on your shelf, had you swapped those out for Nintendo Switch games, you would have been able to fit 26 games in that same amount of space. Just to prove what I'm talking about with these shelves here, this is a Nintendo Switch shelf. I can fit 26 games on this row. 26 games, no wiggle space, okay? Not a single game can fit in here. A single additional game. Random example, so let's count them up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. 26 games. Let's go over to the Nintendo Wii. Exact same size shelf. Can only fit 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 games. No wiggle room. That's it. Trying to do this with one hand. Shelf space is roughly 11.6 feet. See, start to finish, roughly 11.6. Just to prove that they are the same size. Roughly 11.6 feet. Same size. So which games do you think you would rather have on your shelf? A thick DVD case, such as a PS4, or would you rather have 30% more Nintendo Switch games? Number 3, 8 or more player local multiplayer exclusive. We're talking local multiplayer, none of this online crap. Okay, we're talking Pico Park, which I think can go up to 10 players, if I'm not mistaken. One of the greatest co-op party games ever made in history, and it's cheap. I'm hoping one day they come out with physical. They recently came out with Pico Park number 2. This is shockingly a Nintendo Switch exclusive, although it is on PC as well. But console-wise, as far as I know, I checked yesterday, it's still an exclusive. Okay. Plus, they got other games, Smash Brothers, 8-player Smash Bros. You ever play 8-player Smash Bros? I mean, that's peak Smash Bros. You used to think 4-player was good until you played 8-player. Like, I'm not even interested in 4-player Smash Bros. Anymore. Once you go 8-player, holy hell, that is pure insanity in a good way. And I'll just tell you straight up what I like to do. I'm the cheapest guy in the game. People hate me. I pick Samus, 8 players. I go hide in the corner of the map because we're playing stock lives here. It doesn't matter how many kills you get. It's last man standing. I sit in the corner. I charge my shot, and I shoot it at people. And if you come at me, I just run away. I run away back to the other side of the map. I don't care. I'm not going to fight you. I'm a long-range combatant. I don't do the close-range stuff. I ain't good at that. So I shoot you with fully charged Samus shots all day. And I'll try to hook you with my hook to throw you away too. You know, you try and get in close. The grab attack, which is, she's got a hook shot for the grab attack, which is shockingly effective. And not as hard to land as it normally is for grab attacks. So I like to play Samus all day. Sometimes I'll pick Captain Falco and do that Falcon kick all day, spamming Falcon kicks all over the map. Throwing a couple of Falco punches all day, and then I go back to Samus or Pikachu. Down B all day, down B. Lightning bolts coming down, down B. You want to come over here? Down B. You want to go over there? Okay, I'll run over there. I'll down B you, and then I'll run away. Yeah, so we got Mario Kart. We got Bomberman. Super Bomberman. I don't remember if that's oh, yes. It is an exclusive. It is an exclusive. Let me show you. At least it's an 8-player local exclusive. And let me show it to you right now. Here's my proof right here. This is Bomberman. PS4. For whatever stupid reason, it's only 4-player local. Now, online you can do more, but 1 to 4-player local. But on the Nintendo Switch, this is an 8-player local game. 8-player local, the way it should be. Here's the Switch version, just to give you an example. 1 to 8-player local on the TV, buddy. TV, 8 players. So, best party game console by far, by default, automatically Nintendo Switch wins. Number 4. Hybrid design. No brainer, guys. You buy a PS4, PS5, you're locked into the TV. You buy a Nintendo Switch, you get the best of both worlds. When I first bought my Nintendo Switch, I actually wasn't planning to use it as a home console on the TV. I initially thought I thought I would just use it kind of like reading a book. Like before you go to bed, you pick up the console and you play an RPG. So I knew I wanted to play Octopath Traveler. I bought the console almost exclusively for Octopath Traveler at the time. And when I first got it, that's what I did. 30 minutes before bed, I was playing Octopath Traveler every night to help me start to get a little bit sleepy, go to bed. Because turn-based RPGs, they are not adrenaline-causing games. They're very relaxing games. I just wanted something to kind of just relax my body, stop thinking about other things, and just focus on a nice book or, in this case, an RPG, which is essentially a book or a movie. But you play it out, and you can save rather easily. So once I start to get sleepy, okay, I go save the game. Off to bed I go. And then it wasn't until later on that I started hooking it up to the TV. And once I did that, I realized I don't even want to use it as a portable console anymore. But I've taken it on vacations with me. I played the Nintendo Switch on the plane. I had an 8-hour plane ride once. I was playing RPGs on the plane. Great for traveling in general. I've taken it to the beach. I play my Nintendo Switch on the beach. I don't care, man. There's so many good places that you could take the Switch with you, kill some time, relax. And a lot of people bash me for taking it on the beach. Why aren't you enjoying the nice beach view? Well, I did enjoy the nice beach view. Now I just want to sit down and relax on the beach. How about that? I want to play my Nintendo Switch. while enjoying the outdoors. How about that? Number 5. Ooh, this is a good one. Focus on gameplay and not graphics. Now, because the Nintendo Switch is the inferior console when it comes to the hardware and the specs of the hardware, this console has been forced to focus on games and gameplay because they can't compete. Okay, they cannot compete graphics wise. The Nintendo Switch will never get Cyberpunk. Great game, by the way. Hey, I'm not saying there's not great games on other consoles. I'm just saying they'll never get Cyberpunk. They might never get that new fancy Call of Duty, whatever the newest Call of Duty Battlefield is. Okay, the Nintendo Switch ain't gonna get that game. It's not gonna get it. So they've been forced to focus on the gameplay the way it should be in the game, the way it used to be. Okay, that's the way it used to be. That's how Nintendo was able to beat Sega. Back during the console wars, that's how Nintendo survived and Sega didn't. Okay? Sega didn't survive. Ask yourself why. What did Nintendo do that was so different? And it's because they focused on the games and the gameplay, not the graphics. Sure, you can still have great graphics. And I'll use 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim as an example. Yeah, it's not an exclusive, but it's a great game. It's got very basic modern graphics. It's not pixel art. This is still modern graphics, but it's one of the greatest games ever made. So I decided to throw that one up as the example. So the point being, you can make the world's greatest games and not have the world's greatest graphics. You don't need the most powerful machine. Which leads us to number 6. Okay, number 6 is similar to number 5. I'm going to admit it. The Nintendo Switch is a modern version of the Super Nintendo. This is an epiphany that I had and something that I've realized in recent times. Came to the realization that perhaps the reason I love the Nintendo Switch so much is because it is a Super Nintendo on steroids. Quite literally. They're even re-releasing Super Nintendo games on the console. Okay? They've been constantly doing that. Secret of Mana Collection, or Mana Collection, what are they calling that one? That's basic. It's all Super Nintendo games. That's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. In fact, I have it with me. Where'd I put that? Well, we'll get to it. Let me give you some examples. Horizon Chase Turbo, one of the greatest racing games ever made. It's basically your Top Gear 2, but on the Nintendo Switch. A Space for the Unbound. How about this one? The Super Nintendo could probably have created this exact game. I think the Super Nintendo could have literally made A Space for the Unbound. Check out the graphics on that game. Incredible graphics. To this day, I just about blow my balls off every time I put the game in. I'm still playing through it. I'm going to beat it soon. I'll do a review video on it. I'll admit I'm disappointed in the story so far. But graphics-wise, wow, it's incredible. It's an experience. Every time I put it in, I think, holy hell, the Super Nintendo, I'm telling you, if they upgraded the memory chips, they could have made this game on the Super Nintendo. What else we got? Oh, another actual Super Nintendo game. What is this? Wild Guns Reloaded. Once again, you know, widescreen. They added new characters and made it widescreen. Curse of the Moon 1 and 2. Scott Pilgrim. Like, these are pixel style graphics. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And these are like 10 out of 10 games here. Here's 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. This is a 1-bit game made in Microsoft Paint. You could have put that. This could have fit on a Super Nintendo. This could have been on a Super Nintendo. More actual Super Nintendo games released. Aladdin and Lion King. Great games. Ion Fury, Boomer Shooter, Doom style Boomer Shooter with pixel graphics. Better than Doom, I would add. Here's what I was really looking for though. Collection of Mana. The point is, I'm just saying that this console, yeah, it has literal Super Nintendo games on it, but it also focuses on a lot of pixel games. Not necessarily exclusives, but the point is, a lot of these games are games that you could have hypothetically seen on a Super Nintendo had they upgraded the chips, and or could quite literally be on the console, period. Paprium for the Sega Genesis, if anyone's familiar with that game, they were able to make that game on the Sega Genesis by upgrading the chips. It's like 76 megs. It would be a very expensive game to make in the 90s, but you could do it. Number 7, what do we got? Cheap entry price. Yeah, that's another thing. The console is very cheap. Console is cheaper than all of the other, significantly cheaper than your PS4, your PS5. But the counter argument to this is that the games are more expensive. They're about $10 extra. It's called the Switch tax. They call it that. And that's because carts are more expensive than discs. The Blu-rays or DVDs, whatever they're using nowadays, carts are more expensive to make. So I'll give them that, but console-wise, it's very cheap, which makes it very accessible for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money. I would recommend to that individual to get a Nintendo Switch. If you're on a budget, go with the Switch. Number 8, kid and adult friendly. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it's a great starter console for a kid. And a lot of people hate that about Nintendo. They hate that Nintendo is always the great starter console because you got your Marios and your Kirbys. But I mean, really, if you have a young kid, that is one of the best games to start them on. You're not going to start them on Dark Souls. A 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old is not going to be able to get good at Dark Souls. Maybe a 5-year-old could, to be honest. They're smart kids nowadays. But a 4-year-old, I don't think so, buddy. But if you give them Kirby, they're going to fall in love with it. They're going to be good at the game. They're going to learn that hand-eye coordination. But not only is it kid-friendly, but it's also adult-friendly. Adults can have fun with the exact same games that the kids are going to have fun with. The Super Marios. Okay? Those, yeah, it's good for young kids, but adults love Mario just as much as the kids. Many of the Kirby games, they're no different. And a kid can still play some of the best JRPG, turn-based RPGs of all time. Triangle Strategy. Hey, well, I mean, he's got to be old enough to know how to read, I guess. But let's just say 8 years old. Hell, I was playing RPGs 8, 9, 10 years old. Probably 7, maybe even 6 years old. I don't remember however old you are when you learn how to read. Well, a kid that knows how to read, let's just say 9 years old. At 9 years old, you're old enough to understand what's going on. And you're old enough to pick up a gun and blow your balls off after playing Triangle Strategy. And you're old enough to appreciate music. You might not think that your kid is old enough, but he's going to learn real quick. He's going to mature into it. By the time he's 10 years old, 11 years old, he's going to be playing those JRPGs, Final Fantasy. He's going to be playing Final Fantasy VII on the Nintendo Switch. He's going to listen to that music. He's going to watch those cutscenes. He's going to fall in love with that story. He's going to watch Aerith die. That's the Japanese name. I think they call her Ares in English. He's going to watch her die. His 11-year-old little midget brain. Undeveloped brain. And he's going to say, holy hell, what a scene. He's going to say, this is better than any movie that I could be watching. And I'm getting 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 hours of gameplay. And I'm learning patience. I'm learning how to grind. I'm learning life skills. The point is, kids and adults can play these games. Number 9, physical carts. I mean, physical carts are nice, guys. Let me show you. It's something that you're not really going to understand what this actually means unless you grew up during the NES, Super Nintendo, N64 era. There's just something special, something unique about picking up a cart, even though it's a tiny little cart. It's just a tiny thing. It's slightly larger than my penis. So it's not all that big. It's not all that big. But it's not about the size. The size don't matter. It's how you use it. That's all that matters. It's how you use it. And also, because it's a cart, the load times are actually a little bit faster. Number 10, the very last one. What do we got? Oh, Nintendo exclusives. Games such as Triangle Strategy. Great soundtrack. What else we got? Octopath Traveler. This is a physical exclusive. It used to be a fully Nintendo exclusive. Yes, it's on the Xbox now, but once again, it is not physical. Octopath Traveler 2, number 2. I don't even think that one's on the Xbox. And how about this? A lot of people don't know this. How about Golf Story? There's a lot of unique exclusives out there that you PS4 and you Xbox fanboys, you don't know about. You don't know about, and you don't know what you're missing. There's so many gems out there. And back to rewinding to, let me rewind to point number 5. Focus on gameplay and not graphics. Okay, I want to point out a couple other games. I wanted to point out some gems like Record of Lodoss War. What is this? Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. This is a game that tries to mimic as best as possible Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and they do a pretty darn good job. Okay, it's basically a clone of that, but in the Record of Lodoss universe, which I'm a big fan of. Other games that don't require having good graphics to be good. Signalis. This is a 16-bit style, top-down, isometric view Resident Evil game. This could have been on your Super Nintendo, hypothetically speaking, with more memory. Things like that. Peach Ball. Yeah, this doesn't have the best graphics. But have you seen the girls in here? They got huge tits. They're huge. And they look pretty good. Given the graphic potential of the Nintendo Switch, they look pretty good. I'm just throwing that out there. You know, not that I would know. I mean, I only bought this for the pinball. Bought it for the pinball. There's no other reason that I bought it. Maybe you bought it for some other reason. How about, here's another great example. Streets of Rage 4. The graphics are not super fancy graphics. The Nintendo Switch handles them just fine. They're just the same. It looks the same on the Switch as it does on a PS5. Looks the exact same. It's all about the gameplay. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get to over 9,000 subscribers. On my way to collecting over 9,000 retro video games and Nintendo Switch games. Also, check the link in the description below. Join the Patreon. Hell, join the free version. I don't care. Join the Patreon. I'm trying to post exclusive content. I know I've been slacking, but I've been recording a couple of gameplay videos, relaxing Saturday nights type of videos. Those are going to be going up on the Patreon.
Rolling through the city with a pocket full of cash. Xbox 360, prices climbing fast. Got my eye on F-113, gonna cop it real quick. But I got to hustle hard, the prices are real. Yo, mom's the plug, she got the hookup, no lie. At the 7-Eleven dumpster, I buy and buy. Splatterhouse, Blue Dragon, got them in my stash. Buying red games from your mom, what I want, she has.